All right. Yeah. Sorry about that, guys. For those of you who are going to be joining in here, we had some technical difficulties here. We're trying to get our fiber installed, so the internet's been a little wonky for us. We're almost done with that process. So sorry about that. Please stay with us. Moving on though, like I was talking about before, Randall had called in, and we'll get back with his picks and his locks for the bet. So I'm gonna keep talking about the NIL here. So, like I was talking about, Jacksonville State, right? Jacksonville State is one of those teams that has that private funding, and then they're able to, make something shake with the NIL agreements for, enticing players to come in and join. But we also have SMU, like I was telling you, they had the death penalty happen to them, but now as they're reprising and rebuilding their program, they came off a really good season last year. The NIL deal is that every player on the basketball and the football team, they're each getting compensated $36,000. Now, I don't know about you, but as an 18-year-old kid trying to make it in college, $36,000 sounds like a pretty sweet deal. And like, for instance, schools like Alabama, right? Alabama quarterback's worth $1 million before stepping on campus. And now it's like, you've got Bryce Young, who has over $800,000 in NIL deals last season alone, which can be hindered, with other schools. How's a school like Central Michigan, or, how's a school like a mid-major level school or a non-Power 5 school going to compete with that? There's some issues with that, and I think that the NIL deals, they also translate from, if a player wants to transfer, their money's in the way, right? Like they have the idea in their head that they could be like, okay, I'm going to go and make some money if I transfer over here to this school, or I don't want to leave this school because I could transfer. If I transfer, I might lose out on this sweet NIL agreement. So there's things to be said on both ends about it. I think it's a great step in the right direction, man. I am a big advocate. Student athletes, go get paid, man. Go get paid. That is the way it should be. It's the way it should have always been. Guys like me weren't so lucky, but at the same time, better late than never. I definitely see a downward trend with the NCAA. I think it's going to take some time to get there, obviously, because they've been so big. But man, with everything happening right now, these players are they could very easily form a players union and be like, this is what we want, this is what we don't want. I honestly don't know why they haven't already taken steps in that direction, but I think we're going to see some big changes coming up, especially in the college football front. I'm excited. Obviously, the transfer portal was hit very heavily in the past offseason. And, that happens within college football, but obviously we're going to get, it's at such more of a relevant rate now that we're just, we're seeing guys' entire programs basically fold and have to rebuild off of nothing. And, there's a lot of good things for it. There's some negatives for it. Overall, I think the NIL is a great deal for kids trying to make a living before they even go pro. And some kids won't even go pro. There was a cat, one of my favorite stories that we had was there was a kid that made a huge play he was playing for the University of Kansas, and they were playing Texas last season. I don't know if you remember, but Kansas upset Texas at Texas. And there was a player who hadn't been a super impactful player that came in and made a huge stop for them. And then boom, immediately after, I believe it was a pick, right? It was a pick. I think it was a pick. The kid made a huge play, signs a huge deal to Applebee's. And it's like, that's a game changer for a kid like that. He's not a household name. He's not going to go and make several pro, he's not going to go sign multiple pro contracts and have a guaranteed money going on. But then you just see like kids like that, opportunities, man. That's amazing for student athletes to go out there and make money. I couldn't be more excited about it. Now, I don't know how we're going to get Randall. Have we – huh? He's not coming back. Okay. All right. So we're not gonna have Randall come back for today, but we're definitely gonna get his picks and see what he was doing up in there in the sports book. I'm very excited to hear what he's gonna bet for. I'm sure he and I will disagree on some things. But to close things out here, I wanted to just go off like a lighter note. I want to talk about my top 5 greatest sports movies of all time. I know I'm going to get some flack for this, but this is how I feel. And if you disagree with me, let me know in the comments. Let me have it. Tear me up a little bit. But number 5, I'm going with He Got Game. This is one of my favorite movies. It's a 1998 American sports drama. It's directed and written by Spike Lee. I like a lot of Spike Lee's movies, but this one in particular was just so out there for me. It stars Denzel Washington and Ray Allen. The film revolves around Jake Shuttlesworth, father of top-ranked basketball prospect in the country, Jesus Shuttlesworth. So it's a really great movie. When I was a kid and I was wanting to figure out how the recruiting process was going to work, I used to watch this game because there's scenes of this kid who's a top prospect going around and visiting schools and getting all this attention and getting all the flashy things and the women and all these exciting, And so when I was thinking about how my official visits would go, I just kept watching this movie and thinking, like, this is real life. Like, this is amazing. And I loved it. Definitely one of my favorites. Going at number 5, firm on that. Number 4, and people will probably, this is where it's going to get a little tricky because people are going to be like, that's not really a sports movie. But it is, and it's super entertaining, and everyone still talks about it to this day. Happy Gilmore. Adam Sandler. I absolutely love this movie. You've got Bob, him fighting Bob Barker, or Adam Sandler wrestling an alligator on a golf course. It's amazing. I love the whole arc of him failing at hockey over and over again, and then boom, he comes over and just starts absolutely changing the way golf is. And entertaining. I'll watch that movie from start to finish. And any chance I need, like any chance I get, I love Happy Gilmore. Number 3. I'm going with Rocky. Now, I'm going with the first Rocky. It makes a lot of sense. Rocky is a guy who's off the street. Sylvester Stallone, he's off the street. He's fighting one of the most decorated boxers in the sport, and he doesn't win. But that was the whole point of the film, is him getting in there and lasting the whole fight and making it and proving to himself and proving to that underdog kid, like, you can do anything you set your mind to. And I love that. Now, what the Rocky franchise does in the future, I'm not big on Rocky 5, and I haven't even finished watching the reboots. I watched the first Creed. I haven't seen the second one, but I've heard good things. I love Rocky. Rocky is the best depiction of an underdog story in my list. And yeah, I stick with that for sure. The number 2, I have to go with The Sandlot. The Sandlot is my favorite childhood movie, and I mean, what's there not to love, man? You get all these little tastes of sport, baseball history, and you've got shots of Babe Ruth. You've got these kids trying to make it out of something. It's the best. I got Sandlot at number 2, and then number one, the greatest sports movie of all time for me. I'm going Remember the Titans. Now, Remember the Titans is number 1 for me because it has layers. It's a time where, it's not easy with, the conversations aren't easy. You're talking about segregation. You're talking about a town that's divided. You bring a group of guys together that are, they're all different. And you got, it's just amazing. I love Remember the Titans, but the big thing for Remember the Titans, man, that soundtrack is killer. Absolutely killer. And yeah, I'm going with Remember the Titans for number 1. But we've got a little bit, yeah. So there's my list right there. I go, yeah, from left to right, number 5 to number 1. If you don't agree with this list, that's fine. Leave me a comment down below. Tell me what you think. And maybe argue with me a little bit. What am I a crazy person, or did I get these right here? So anyways, we're going to wind it down here today on the Sports Report. I wanted to thank you guys for joining us. We'll be back with Randall tomorrow and his picks. We'll be talking about the outcomes of tonight's games and then just looking forward into a preview of Saturday's games, man. College football's back. Be excited. I'm super ready to go, fired up. There's a lot of things a lot of moving parts right now. We're going to get moving in the future with us getting in college campuses, and I'm super excited. We've got a bus that's going to allow us to venture out and get big on College game day, and that's where you're going to be seeing me a lot, is just kind of immersing myself in the crowds. We're going to be at UT games, A&M games, TCU games, things like that. We're going to be taking over the Texas area first, and then obviously branch out as we get this thing going. Remember, we're a startup company, so we're trying to build ourselves from here on out. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. A lot to look forward to here in the future, but thank you guys, and we'll be back tomorrow.